You're listening to the Tribe Nail Tech podcast, where nail techs find inspiration and motivation to take their career to the next level. We welcome you here. Now tribe up and slay your day. Here is your host, Becky Bunnell.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of the Tribe Nail Tech podcast. I'm your host, Becky Bunnell, and today's sponsor is So-Gel Nails. And today, again, is my special guest, Amy Masters. Hi, Amy.
Hi.
Welcome, Tribe. How is everyone today? We are going to talk today about pricing. Pricing is so important. So it's that time of year. Again, nail techs, here we go. It is fall. Fall is approaching us. If any of you follow me and have listened to any of my lives or any of workshops that we've done together, I promote that the best time of year to raise your prices is October 1st. And let me tell you a little bit about why I feel like that is the best time of year. The holidays are very important, right? So people love to have their nails on for the holidays, and some people get them done for the holidays and take them off the rest of the year. So it is the perfect time to raise your prices is October 1st, because people will rarely take their nails off during the holidays. They want their nails to look the best. So it's a great time, September 1st, or maybe even 2 weeks before October, to make a little sign on your station, send out an email or a text message, and just let your clients know that effective October 1st this is your new pricing. I feel like too many nail techs make the mistake that we feel like we need to explain to our clients why we are raising our prices. We don't need to justify it, okay? Most people get a raise every year or every couple years, right? Cost of living goes up. The gas station down the road, their prices fluctuate from day to day, week to week. They don't send out a notification to us, right? Taco Time raises their taco 50 cents every once in a while. They don't send a notification out to us and say, hurry and come get your tacos before I raise the price. Okay, so quit thinking that. Change your state of mind on that. Guys, we do not need to justify our price raise, okay? So you simply just put a sign, send out the email or text and say, effective October 1st, these are my new prices, okay? There's many ways to do this. So Amy and I do different techniques here. I'll explain to you like what I do, and then Amy can tell us how she raises her prices. Every year or every 2 years, I raise my prices. And that's up to you of how much you want to go up or whatever. I think a lot of it depends on, and we'll go into more details later. You've got to be keeping an eye on your prices of your products. Did your rent go up? Did your utilities go up? Did your insurance go up? There's so many things to factor into this. And like I said, we'll get into that in a minute. But so that's going to determine what you're going to raise your prices to. Have you taken a bunch of new classes? Have you upped your skill set? Do you offer more things? Have you advanced in your nail career? So you need to put a value on yourself. That's a whole nother episode that we need to know what our value is and where we're at with that. But you can jump up, to $5, whatever. 2 years ago, this October, I went up $10. I did it across the board and I was scared to death. You just post it, you do it, and then there's your new prices. No reason to justify it to anyone, right? Is it scary? Yes, it's very scary to raise our prices, but we need to do it. It's a must. Many people in the industry have been doing nails for 20 plus years and they still charge the same price. I don't get that. So we're hoping we can change your mind today with this episode because it's so important. And we have such good information for you today of why. So Amy, that is how I do my prices. People reach out to me all the time. Actually, yesterday, I just had a nail tech reach out to me and she said, these are my prices. I'm thinking about going up. How do I do it? What do I do? And what do you think I should charge? So I evaluated her prices. Some were good where they were at. Others needed to come way up. I actually encouraged her to go $5 up on her fills and $10 up on her full sets. And then we kind of looked at the rest of her menu and I adjusted it that way and spent the time with her. She was very grateful. It's scary. It really is, but you can do it and it's really important. So Amy, welcome. And how about telling us how you do your pricing? Because you do it a little bit different.
Well, first of all, hello everybody in our tribe. Becky, I don't know. I think I get to like be the special person. I've gotten to come on with you a few times here on your podcast, and I again say thank you very much for I don't know, bringing me on. I love it. Like you, for years, I just compared myself to the person down the street. I wanted to know that I was giving quality, but I wanted to know that, like, well, if they charge $25, I got to charge $25, right? Or I'm going to charge $23. So I'm going to undercut them. And I one time I listened to, it was a podcast actually, and it was about big box stores. And it was like those lost leaders. So like the end cap, they'll have like milk for, 99 cents. And normally it's $2. And so you gravitate to it and you buy as much as you can, but you don't realize the milk is almost to expiration date. There's a reason why it's always discounted. There's a reason why it's always on sales. They need it gone, right? Nail techs are kind of the same way. We have these loss leaders in our menu that pull people in, but if we always have everything down at the lowest prices, we're never going to be profitable. So what they've learned is that they put things out there to get you in. And then once you trust them and you see the difference of what your place is compared to the others, maybe your cleanliness is there, your education's a lot better. You can't compare yourself to the person down the street because what you have to offer is so uniquely you that there's no way to compete and always cost cut each other. In this podcast, it was about milk. And it was about, I don't know, a Safeway store versus a Walmart. And they kept advertising until the gallon of milk was 25 cents. Both of them were not making any money. They were, losing it big time. But it was because they were so competitive that they lost sight of the big picture. Were they really offering anything quality? No, they were not. It was the same gallon of milk from the same company, the same products, but it was the customer service that was behind it. And then they quit cost cutting each other like that. And then they realized that the other store down the street, maybe the Albertsons that had it for $2, but was giving great customer service, was selling their gallon of milk for $2 and making money, staying true to who they were. That was a light bulb moment for me. That made me realize I was no longer going to compete with the person down the street. What I had to offer was so much different. What I had to offer might be the same products, might take me about the same amount of time, but the conversation, the cleanliness, my environment, my attitude, my drive for what I was going to produce at the end was going to be worth paying more for. So to kind of fast forward, I've been in the industry now for 28 years, and about year, 17, my accountant, who I still have today, was like, well, you're getting money back at the end of the year again. I was like, yes, I get that bonus, right? And she's like, well, when do you want to be profitable? And I'm like, I'm profitable. And she's like, no, you're not. Do you know that when you get money back at the end of the year, it means that that's the difference of you and poverty level? And I was like, what? So that bonus that you get back means that you lived below poverty level. Okay, but I have all these deductions and stuff. Yeah, to counter what you had for income. So how much do you really want to make? How long are you going to do this? Choose your goal is to pay in at the end of the year. And I'm like, I don't want to pay in. I want the bonus. But I realized in those light bulb moments, when you're always competing with a person down the street, you don't know your numbers. You don't know if you're profitable. You just assume that you're doing good because you have money in your pocket at the time. But at the end of the year, when you do your numbers and you realize that you were actually negative, and that's why they're giving you money back, is not where you want to be. So I got with my accountant. I got with my friend that was a bookkeeper that was a client of mine. And I'm like, I need to really know my numbers. And after all these years, I actually had interest in it. And I was kind of a number person by then anyway. So I was like, okay. So we created this formula, and it takes time. And I teach a class called Keeping Profits in Your Pockets. And even though, it's a 9-hour class with bonuses. So you have a 14-hour class, and it's online and in person, but we go through what takes about a year for you to really know your numbers. So it's a continuous class. So we broke down like every bit that we use on the nail. How many uses do you get out of it? How much does it cost? When do you have to replace it? What's the difference between overhead cost, product cost, table cost? We break everything down. How much do you want to make per hour? And then let's set prices based off of what the actual costs are. Oh my goodness. When you do that, do you think back to the 25-cent gallon of milk, where did I even be able to afford what I'm doing?
Right.
I'm not even being able to keep my doors open without the struggle. If I'm not working, they're not open, kind of thing. And so once I started learning my numbers and I had to raise my prices, because then when you know that knowledge, you have no choice. And like you said, we don't have to explain to our clients why.
Mm-hmm.
I had to raise so significantly to keep up with what I was offering in a service that I could either take a lot of this stuff out of their service, don't give them lotion at the end, don't give them oil at the end, don't let them wash their hands in the bathroom, don't give them a cup of coffee. Like I was either going to have to go back to basics to keep my prices where they were, or to stay giving the quality where I wanted to be. This was where the prices needed to be. And I showed my clients that. And I showed them at the time I wanted to make $15 an hour. At that time, that's pretty much what they're making in their jobs. They're making $15 an hour. So they understood and they saw that and they were like, oh my gosh, and when is this effective? And I'm like, next month. And they're like, no, it's effective today. My clients then not only gave me what I needed today, but then they tipped me on top of that. And I was just like, this is crazy. So you hold yourself back when you're not knowing your value, you're not really knowing your numbers, and you're not confident enough in your work to be able to build up your prices where they need to be. And so Becky and I both do it a little bit differently. She knows her numbers, and so she knows where she can do her prices and stuff. But if you don't know your numbers and you're just competing with the person down the street, you might not be profitable. And most of the times when people take the class, it's an aha moment and they tell me that they make an average of $4 an hour. That's less than any minimum wage of any state. $4 an hour is usually what they find out that they make. That's the average. When we fine tune their menu, I show them different ways to raise their prices throughout the year. So if they don't want to do the big hike, like what you've mentioned, that they can do that. We go through into detail of what they can do. And it's amazing also knowing what products you should be investing in versus what your school told you, or what an educator is like, you have to use this product, when really, if you get knowledge, you can find out that one product alone, and I'll share that later on, one product alone can save you so much money. And it's the exact same thing as what other companies have out there. So yeah, knowing your numbers and being confident in what your craft is so important.
Yeah, it's huge. And I feel like, that's a lot of reasons why a lot of nail techs don't survive in this industry. They do not know. They do not teach us in school. They do not know. This is another thing why I strive, and Amy encourages this too. It's like the nail tech you become is what you do after you get out of nail school. Like, you guys, you can't just learn your stuff in nail school and then be content with that's just, you learned how to do nails and you're good and you're just fine. Like, you've got to find the education and learn as much as you can about your career. How do you think you're going to succeed in your career if you do not know everything that you can about it? You've got to keep learning. And I just cringe when I see prices of some nail techs. I'm just like, what are they doing? Because I know the numbers and I know that many of them are making minimum wage or less. And they see it like, oh, well, I'm getting $30 on a fill. I've got money in my pocket every day. I've got cash whenever I need it. And it's like, but you're not doing your numbers. You're not figuring out your insurance, your taxes, your rent, just everything. Your table costs include all of this stuff. It's a big umbrella of everything. It's not just like what you're spending to buy products every month. It's bigger than that. And when you know that, you're just blown away. And we've got to raise the value of this industry. We have got to raise our prices. Hairdressers are getting big dollars for their services. And we're just as important as they are. And we take just as much time to do our trade as they do. And our products cost as much as theirs do. There is no reason why they should be making more money than us. We've got to raise our prices in our industry. It's so important.
Yeah. You know, I share many formulas, and one of them that I start out with from the beginning, like if so, like somebody messaged you yesterday and said, what about my prices? So let's say they have a $25 fill, because, that's an average across the United States is this $25 for basic, no art, just basic fill, right?
Too low. Sorry.
Takes them an hour.
Yeah.
And the average nail tech right now, so minimum wage in some states is $15.75.
Yeah.
And so the average nail tech is no longer wanting to make 15. Last year when we did our polls and stuff, we found out the average tech these days want to make a minimum of $20 an hour. Okay. So that same tech is charging $25 for a fill. They want to make $20 an hour. It takes them an hour to do it. Okay, fine. So $25, 20 of that you say is your wage. Does that mean that $5 covers your overhead, the product you used on them, your licensing, like all of that? No. Usually your overhead on average, depending like if you're paying rent in a building, your overhead alone is $6. Well, okay, that took only $1 away from your $20 an hour, right? Now let's go through and let's talk about, you gave them a cup of coffee, they use your restroom, the water, utilities, everything else that compounds on top of that. By the time they're done, they are not making $20 an hour. When I see instantly somebody charging $25 for a fill, I ask them, how long does it take for you to do the service? And they're like, oh, an hour. Okay, how long does it take you before you schedule the next client? Because if we are at work for 8 hours, but we do 6 clients in the 8 hours because maybe of scheduling time, maybe they're a little bit late. We need to be paid for that time because we're at work. I don't want to just be paid when somebody's at my desk. I want to be paid from the time I go to work and I set everything up, to get the coffee going, to everything, to at the end after my sanitation's done, in between clients of that little bit of a break. I want a paid lunch hour. Mm-hmm. You do with any other job. I want to get paid for that time. So how is your prices going to be set up to where you're paid for the in between? So when they say it only takes an hour to do the service, okay, but you don't book your next client for every hour and a half, or you get paid for every half an hour throughout the day that you're just sitting there cleaning and getting things, you're still working. It's like, so really you're getting paid for that service for an hour and a half.
Right.
And if you want $20 an hour, that means that you have to have a minimum of $30 for that service to cover just what you want for your wage, let alone everything else. And when you start putting the numbers in and they start looking at the big picture of that, they're like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, yeah. So now are you ready to do the numbers? They're like, yes. Now what do I do? And it's like, okay. And so sometimes like you, I can look at the menu immediately and go, this isn't working. And then sometimes I'm like, okay, your numbers are good, but let's talk about your environment. Let's talk about your salon. Let's talk about your commute to work. Let's talk about the products that you use. What are you doing with the lost leaders of things? And so once they go through the numbers, like I said, it's a 9-hour course, but with that being said, it takes months to be able to really know everything. And it's pretty cool at the very end when people message and they're like, for the first time, I'm profitable. I'm set up on quarterlies to pay my accountant. I'm like, yes, that means that we're being successful because we're making money when you have to pay in.
Yes, I was on a panel last year at the Utah Nail Expo, and they had me as one of the nail experts, and they had a accountant up there also. And he said the same thing. He said, okay, deductions are great, but he's like, make the money and pay the taxes and enjoy your stinking income. Like, you know what I mean? Like basically saying, be profitable and enjoy that money. Because if, like you said, if you're constantly getting a refund at the end of the year, are you profitable? He's like, make the money, claim the money, pay the taxes on it, and enjoy the money. And I just thought that was ironic because it was like, yeah, it's true. You know what I mean? You said you've even had some nail techs that have broke down in tears crying, saying, I didn't know I was making $4 an hour or whatever. And they're just crying because, you guys, we work hard. We work lots of hours. It's hard on our bodies being a nail tech. We don't do this for minimum wage. So, I just am so passionate about this subject, about knowing your costs and charging what you're worth. Because I used to do it. I used to kill myself and work the 10 and 12 hour days and fit as many people as in as I could. And it was just like, got to get them in, got to get them out because I got the rent to pay. And, I remember only charging $22 for a fill or whatever. And oh my goodness. And now I'm like, no, I can't do that. My body hurts. I only want to work this many days a week and this many hours because that's all I can do anymore at my age. And so I have to have high prices, and people pay it. People are like, I don't know, because I'm going to lose some clients. Every time I've raised my prices, I've lost maybe 2 people, but I've wound up gaining people because it sets me at a higher vibration to attract people that are, let's say, more wealthy. And so I have to do less people in a day because I'm charging more. And you will get those people, and you do not need to be afraid of raising your prices. We're not in competition with the non-standard salon, so quit comparing yourselves to that. They're not even on the table. I literally, Amy, though, I've never even called around to find the prices in my area because me personally, I'm confident enough and I know who I am and I know what I can do. I am not in competition with one single person in my town. I'm not. Because I will attract the people that I'm supposed to attract, and they will attract the people that they are supposed to attract. I do not feel in competition with one single person in my whole entire town. And that's where you got to get your mindset at. And if you're at that mindset, you can charge what you want because that's your worth and that's what you're putting out there and that's what you're going to receive in. I'm so confident of that. I wish I could get that in every nail tech's head.
Part of my course, I call it the Reebok walk. That means where you do go in and you find out, look at the environment, the other places around you, look at their cost. Did they, even recognize you when you walked in the door? Did they just yell, pick a color? There's so many things in there that can set you apart from the others of what we think is competition, but it's really not. And so when you do the Reebok walk, it was amazing to me that the low cost, non-standard salons that we walk into, their full set pricing was double the cost of mine. So I sculpt everybody, and it was a glitter. So when I went in to ask for pricing, I showed him a picture of a glitter tip that had a flower on it. Something very simple that like every tech would kind of do. And I knew that they would do it. They used a pre-made glitter tip and put it on, did it really fast, and did the art. It didn't look like the picture. And it was $110 for this set. Okay. My full sets were $65. I was like, oh my gosh, they're like double what I charge. Well, guess what? I purposely do the process what I do so that when the client comes in the next time, the timing is in there. I don't have to do a full set every time they come in. I'm doing what's best for the natural nail. They put on a glitter tip that's at the base. So now I call chasing the color. So the next time I go in, let's say I had a purple glitter tip on, and the next time I go in, I decide I want a French manicure. I can't have that because I have this thing that's underneath because they chose the cheapest, fastest route and charged me more. But the next time I can't get what I want because what the tech chose to give. And so if you've ever been in that scenario, you know what I'm talking about. It makes me crazy. And so again, you have to be able to promote yourself in the confidence. So when people call and say, well, why are your full sets this price and down the street is this? You need to know every step that you have, and you need to know what your competition's offering so that you can say, well, this is included. The art is included. That's why it's a little bit more. But don't have to say, well, I'm better than them. I offer this and they don't. It's nothing like that. It's being confident in who you are, saying, you know what, this is what I have to offer. Would you like to make an appointment? When they feel that confidence and they know that what they're going to get is quality and that you're setting them up for success for their natural nail care all the way through the personality, the cleanliness and everything, they will choose you regardless of your price. We have proven this for years over and over again, that's the difference. It's not the product. It's not because you have a label that says, I use this product and they only choose you because of that product. They choose you because of you and they know your quality. Like you said, charge what you're worth. It's hard to know what we're worth, but when you know your numbers, you have your years of experience. If I was at another job for 28 years, I better be in management. I better be getting top pay with top benefits, right? Exactly. So why would I not think in my salon the same thing, that I deserve that? That's worth, that's value.
Right.
I'm not a brand new nail tech that I should be charging the same as any other brand new nail tech.
Exactly. Name a few things of like what you consider is table costs of what that is. And then let's give a few hints or valuable information that would help a nail tech save money to bring their table costs down. Because there's a lot of things we can do to bring those table costs down that maybe nail techs don't think about.
Yes. Well, I get no zone, so stop me if I need to stop. But so first of all, understanding and defining out the different ways that an accountant. So when I teach keeping profits in your pockets, it's actually based off of what you're going to turn on your taxes. So your overhead costs are in there, your product costs, your supplies, your advertising, all of that. So we break it down the exact same way the IRS breaks it down. Okay. So you have to know what they mean. So an overhead is your ongoing expense that is not revenue generated. Okay. So your overhead is going to be the building. It doesn't bring you in money. What you do in the building brings you in money, but it is an expense that is ongoing that has to be there for you to do what you're doing. Okay. So that's overhead. Table cost is your 1 year, 3 months that you have to replace an item or product that's sometimes used on the nails, but most likely it's what holds the product to use on the nails. So table cost would be something like this jar. Okay. So it's not our overhead. We have to replace them every now and then because they break down or, whatnot, or we need more than one. And so this would be considered table cost. But this itself isn't product that I use on the clients. What's in it? Then you have product cost. It's the item that's in this that you actually have to use onto the client. So when you learn to break it down to overhead, table, and product, and then your wage on top of that, there's 4 categories in there that you have to learn to break down each item and then include that, because so many times people don't include their lamp, they don't include their e-file, don't include these containers. This is what our make it or break it is. These containers is our profit. Okay. If you don't include them and you get paid for them, that's where you kind of lose it. And so that's the difference of those. You mentioned I have one thing that I share many of these tips in my class, and this is one item, just one item that off of a very short amount of time, you will get $270 in savings. Okay. So I'm not promoting a product or anything like that. I'm going to show you a container though. Okay. Every single nail service we do, from a manicure, pedicure, gel, acrylic, whatever it is, we all have to do a pH bond or a cleanser in the very beginning. That is what kills the bacteria and temporarily alters the pH balance of the nail so that we can adhere anything to it, right? Okay. So every single service, we have to do this, and sometimes multiple times. So on average, this 1/2 ounce jar is $4.50. So 2 of these jars equal 1 ounce is $9, right? For 1 ounce. If we took to make 32 ounces, so a regular refill jar would cost you $288. So that same 32 ounce jar though, that's not ready made easy for you, right? So maybe you have to use a wipe with it, or maybe you refill a jar or something with it. On average is $17.95 for 32 ounces. So if you were to buy bulk and you spent $17.95 on a cleanser and quit wasting your money on these little tiny easy jars, you would save $270. I know for 32 ounces, I go through that when I was working full time within a month. Okay. That's $270 a month. Like, these are huge savings that when you know your numbers, you will no longer look at the pre-made easy part. You're going to start looking at like, okay, if I want to keep my prices at a certain level and I start buying bulk, now wait, sometimes that 32 ounces goes on sale or it has free shipping. Or if I buy this, I get another one for free. Or if I buy that, I get one of these containers for free, and then I can keep refilling that container. Look how much money at the end of the year one item that you have to use on every client can save you. Mm-hmm. That is what keeping profits in your pockets is about, is the big picture of all of that. So talk about the girls that are crying in the class. No joke. I've not had one person take the class that has made the money that they thought they were making. On day one, I have them write down, how much do you think you make per hour? How much do you think this? And at the end, we revisit that. And then at the end, they're crying and they're at what we're at our baseline again, and we're ready to take those steps to rebuild back up profitably, more confidently, and all of that. And so in the class one time, there was a girl that was like, well, I'm actually making close. I think she wanted to make 20 and she was making like 17 something. And I thought that is the best one that I've ever seen. So I asked her, I was like, so can I ask you what product you're using? How much time does it take? Blah, blah, blah. And we break it all down. And then the product she was using was Sojel, because I do genre. So I was getting to the point that if you change this up a little bit and you really know your products and you get with the right educator, you're going to be profitable and you don't have to use these ones that you learned in school, blah, blah, blah. And so she said she was using Sojel. And by this time I had already met Becky and I knew that she was with Sojel. I could not wait to call Becky and show her what this lady was doing and how much she was making. So then I dove in and I do the numbers again. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I have narrowed down the best acrylic, a pro acrylic, the best pro hard gel, and then my genre, that there's no doubt that you can get your product and table costs together to be less than $4 a service.
That's awesome.
Then you have your overhead in there,
Right.
It can happen, but you have to be knowledgeable and you have to get in with the right education. You're going to have to invest in yourself to get truly good at what you're doing with that product, know it inside and out, to build to get the next level. So it's not just knowing your numbers and being confident. It really is the education and the core of who you are and where you want to be in it for, like you, 27 years, me 28 years. I mean, we've had our hard times.
Yes. Amazing that this knowledge is out there. Take advantage of that. Amy and I have done a 7-day Jumpstart Your Nail Business that is free. And you can find that. That's a Facebook group. Okay. We talk a little bit about this every day. We have a video for 7 days that talks about all of these different subjects. And one of them is this. We also want to move on to that is a 21-day Vivify Your Nail Business. And it is an intense boot camp that is 21 days long. That is a paying class, but that is an incredible class. We cover 21 different topics, Amy and I. Okay. And at the end of that, we offer you to message us and we do a one-on-one of something specific that you need, that you really want to hone in on, that we help you with. And I can't say that really by the time last 2 times we ran that class, we really didn't have anybody that was like, oh, because we cover so much information. There was maybe a couple little things that we were able to tweak with somebody, maybe on their branding or whatever, some ideas and stuff. But it's an amazing, amazing class. And you can find that on both of our websites. But this keeping profits in your pocket, like you said, is just an intense thing that I think every nail tech should take. And you can also find that on Amy's website too. And then Amy, we didn't talk about how you do your pricing a little bit different. We kind of jumped into the overhead and the things and how much our table costs are and things like that. But how I take like a jump every year or every other year, Amy does things just a little bit different and slowly eases things up in the menu and not everything at the same time. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So to tie in that, so when people call and they say, I want a full set, I would not just give them the price. Most salons, when you call, they're like, oh, a full set $65. What I did is I covered everything that you would get. And then I also asked them, what's the current condition of your nail? Because sometimes they already have a set on that's lifting and is crap and they need it off. And they're like, well, how much is a full set? $65. They think they're paying $65. They come in, you are doing a removal. You are having to prep some nails that are really bad. You're really having to like do a full set from almost a nail bitten nail that has no free edge and giving them the long, coffin shape and artwork.
Right.
You really have to be honest with yourself and with them. And then I tell them how much time it's going to take. I go into detail. So when I do that, I fine-tuned it over the years and I learned it from big box stores. Okay. So let's say you go into a Starbucks. Okay. Every season they have a new coffee. They have a new flavor. you'll notice that it tends to be a little bit higher than the rest because it's the feature, it's the special, right? Sometimes it's the one that's a little bit lower. Maybe it's the end of the season sale, whatnot. So I was like, gosh, I wonder if I did salon menus per season, I could finesse my pricing where it needs to be. I could come lower on some things and go higher when needed, but you have to know your numbers to know when you can do this. So you could have your lost leader. Okay. So let's say right now it's fall and people are like, oh my gosh, I really want to get my nails put back on. I need pampering. And it's pumpkin spice season. It's harvest spice season. Okay. If you geared your menu to be a fall menu. And so like I have an example. I'm going to switch this up. Let's go to summer. Okay. So it's summer. They're getting ready. They want their pedi or whatnot. So the menu for nail enhancing, instead of a full set, I called it a full bloom. And then a repot for a rebalance, a forever French, an oops-a-daisy was a repair, a buff and blossom was when we used to do buff and polishes. You can tell this is from the 90s. And the nail art, which is crazy because the prices are the same prices as the 90s, is what people charge now. And so when you have a little bit of fun with your menu, you can kind of change it up. Let's say that same pedicure for summer is like a margarita, and you give them like a non-alcoholic margarita. You do a salt scrub on them. You have a lemon lime citrus scent going into there, and you've scent branded yourself. It's an experience that they're paying for. For that, you can choose to charge whatever you want. Now, let's say the products that season actually costs you less. You charge more. You know where your numbers are. You're going to be able to, adjust, your profits for that month. But let's say those same products in the winter time cost you more. So why not adjust your prices to when like your utilities are higher in the wintertime than in the summertime, possibly, we don't have to run AC like what you guys do in the summer. So it costs me more in the winter than it does in the summer. So I need my prices to be higher in the winter than in the summer. So I can fluctuate that same pedicure, and I'm going to add a little bit more, or I'm going to take, I'm going to put hot chocolate with it, and I'm going to put a little chocolate into their pedi tub, and I'm going to give them this whole experience of a mint mocha, or something like that. And I'm going to charge a little bit more for that because it's luxury. But in the summertime, I could charge a little bit less, because it depends on those price variations. So what I did is I came up with a seasonal menu for every, 3 months that we change it up. Even though it was the exact same service, the prices were different because we called it something different. That was it. We used a little bit, maybe we did use a different scrub, or we'd use a different scent of lotion. But everything else was exactly the same. It was just the perception that different time of the year, we are willing to pay more for certain things. Like right now, it's getting ready to be fall, and all these pumpkin spicings and chais are coming out. And people are like, I have to have that. They're willing to pay a little bit more for that because mentally we put in that we deserve this, we have to have it. And they're going to reap the rewards of that because we put a need to something that's not a necessity.
Right. It's a great idea. And like you said, sometimes just with your menu, like maybe you need to adjust and maybe your fill is going up a little bit, or I feel like mostly I do fills. And so I think I will be raising my full sets to 70, $5 more, but I'm going to leave my fill price the same for right now for this year. And then next year go up again on my fill. You know what I mean? So because I do mostly fills, and I raised it 2 years ago by a $10 hike. So you can just adjust little things. Maybe your pedicure needs to go up $2. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and you just said what I was going to make a point is do not be afraid to raise it by $1 or 50 cents or $2, because if not, we tend to wait until it's a $5. For some reason we have in our head, it either needs to be 20, 25, 30. What if it was $22.50? Is the people going to go, oh, well, I'm going to go where it's 20? No. Do not be afraid. So like if you go to a big box store, it's $1.97. Why didn't they just put it at $2? Because mentally they know that you're going to see that it's less than $2 and you're going to get it and you're saving 3 cents. Do not be afraid to raise it by like $20.25 or $21.50.
Right.
Because that $1.50 difference that you had from your 20, that's your difference of your income. That's the difference of your hourly wage. And so don't be afraid to do it by cents.
Yes. And I think also another thing to think of, I know some nail techs do this and have suggested this too. And not all places tip, and we can't count on our tips. It's just a bonus. But if you think about it this way, they say if you keep it by fives, people will naturally, if they're not doing 10 or 15 or 20% on your tips, they'll tip you five. So if it's 55, they automatically round it up to 60. So there are some clients it's a little bit different. And like I said, some of them will go by the percentage, but typically people like to round it up to like a $5 number. I don't know. I just, so it's like 30 or 35, 40. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's another thing that some people have suggested. So it's definitely up to you guys. There's many ways to do it. I just suggest that you really think about it, get to know your numbers, know your overhead, know your cost, know your product, what you want to make an hour, really do the time to figure this out. And I would suggest in the next week or so, get your signs posted, your effective date, so that you can give yourself a raise for Christmas and have a nice little bonus in there. Anything else you would like to add?
Self-sabotage. Do not feel guilty about doing this. Do not have in your mindset that, well, down the street does this, or they look nice, or whatever. Quit self-sabotaging you. If you feel that your quality of work, if your client cannot go 2 weeks because they have lifting, okay, you need to invest in yourself and get better education on that product. Contact the company, contact somebody like Becky and I that, we can help you with all of that. Get to where your quality is I'm not going to say perfect because nothing is perfect, but get to where your quality represents what you want, reflects what you want. Right. Okay. When you have that quality there, that self-sabotaging will stop. Your confidence in what you are having to offer will rise up, and then you will start seeing more things. And when you have more money coming in, the more education that you can put yourself into, and you keep investing in yourself. So self-sabotage, what we do to our mindset can hold us back so much. So quit self-sabotaging. Believe in yourself. Invest in yourself, get with the right mentors, get with the right people, know your numbers, be confident in what you do. And just like what Becky mentioned, people will pay it. They want you. And so put that mindset on and believe in yourself. We believe in you.
Yes.
We're proof. We've both have been here through different recessions, through different times, oil-filled crashes, all of that. Like mine is health has taken me away from the table. Sometimes we've had babies that have taken us away from the table temporarily, and we've had to rebuild up many, many times. And so how many times are you going to have to rebuild up before you actually reach out and go, okay, I'm going to rebuild faster. I'm going to rebuild stronger. I'm going to rebuild more confident. And when you reach out to the right mentor and you get that relationship built up, it's unreal how fast you can build up and how much more powerful and more profitable. And then you too get to become that person and share that out. And I hope that after you've been in the industry for more than 5 years, 10 years, that you are at the level and the confidence, because you should be by then. You should know your job after 5 years, 10 years, that you are able to be that mentor for somebody else and continue the stride going and going.
Right. And I want to go back to that really quick, is add a few things in there. Is think about this, about raising your prices. This is kind of how I did the math too, because when I figured I was going to jump up $10, my husband was like, are you sure you want to do that? Like, you might lose a ton of clients. Like, same thing. His mindset was like, what are you doing? And I was like, honey, I've already done the math. I can lose 12 clients and still make the same amount of money. When you are totally booked with your clients, you better be raising your prices, because we want to work smarter, not harder. And what I talked about before, I wanted to work less. It did backfire on me, because I told you I lost 2 and I gained about 10, because I drew in all those new people that thought there's always going to be those people that shop at Walmart and all those people that are always going to shop at Nordstrom. Some people have in their mind, and their mindset is, if she's more expensive, she's better. So I drew in those people, and you can draw in those people too, and you can work less hours and you can still make a bunch of money. So what happens if you raised your prices and you lost 12 people? Oh, well, you just gave yourself a day off. Wow, that's horrible. You know, I'm like, you just gave you an extra day off once a week. How horrible is that? So fix your mindset, guys. You can do this. Amy, let's give them your social media outlets of where they can find you, where they can find your class.
So I'm at thenailsource.biz. I'm all over on Facebook. I do mindset on top of keeping profits your pockets and everything like that. And so you can just send me a private message if you want as well. I'm definitely open to that. But the nailsource.biz would probably be the best one place for you to go to link into a lot of the resources that I have. And subscribe, because I send out emails on occasion, 3 a month. Maybe. Mm-hmm. So it's not like I spam you, but on that, I also give a lot of free education with that too.
She does. She gives lots of free education. And you can also find our 7-day Jumpstart Your Nail Business on there, our 21-day Nail Vivify. And obviously, like I said, the Keeping Profits in Your Pocket. And you can find a lot of those classes also on my website, which is nailteched.com. We hope you reach out to us. You can find me on social media outlets all over at Nailed by Becky Bunnell. And also, don't forget today to go to sogelnails.com/contest and enter for today's contest for today's episode. So make sure you do that with every episode. Please subscribe to the podcast, share with your other nail tech friends, and we hope you got some valuable information today. Reach out to us if you have any questions. And thank you so much, everybody. And me and Amy have a little motto that we started saying at the end of all our classes, and I try to remember to say it at the end of every podcast. So Amy, are you ready?
Yes. And you know what, Becky, I was going to wear my shirt and I totally forgot it. You know, I sent a picture the other day. I shared my shirt because I love that not only have you created the saying, we did it together. Oh, she's going to go get it. We would say this at the end of all of our lives, and then it's turned into a branded thing. There it is. So you guys can say it with us now. But the funniest thing is we always think we're saying it together. But obviously over internet and social media, there's always a little bit of a delay and you don't know it until we watch it on replay and we're like, oh, we totally, ruined that one. But it doesn't matter. So hopefully you guys are watching, you just saw the saying that we say it with us and believe in it. Right. It's amazing. So
yeah, find your tribe, guys. And this is what the podcast is all about. It's what my Tribe Nail Tech apparel is all about, is finding your tribe. Find those people, find those nail techs, those mentors, those instructors, those educators that want to help you. Let's tribe up together and become a stronger industry. So are you ready?
Yes.
3, 2, 1. Tribe up and slay your day. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you.